episode of Hiya Pals. As you can see, we're sitting in here in our lovely tin button Indigo dresses. Woohoo! With fabric from Somi Sunshine. So, we've obviously made them. So let's just...
finished.
Yeah, last episode we didn't finish. I was pinned it. It was all good. So, we're going to just go straight into it. And let's start with Barbara.
Okay. Straight into it. So, where were we last time we filmed? Oh yeah, so we were at Somi Sunshine and I couldn't pick between the two fabrics. Mm-hmm. So I picked this one in the end, and I still have the other one on my radar for making something else in. But I felt like for this dress, this fabric suited. Mm-hmm. I don't know, I just
it's
liked
your
that.
colours.
Yeah, but I liked them both equally. But yeah, so I'm still very happy with the fabric. Oh, I didn't tell you guys. I washed this with my, I've got some black denim, and I thought I had a few different fabrics, and I thought, I'll just do one washing, like all the dark colors, put it in, even put one of those
Colour catchers.
Yeah, but then for some reason I thought, this is dark, but I didn't really think about the spots. So I'm sure that if I would go back to Somi Sunshine and sort of compare the two, that these dots will be slightly darker. They're a bit like more grey now.
Oh well.
Nobody would notice.
No, I wouldn't know if you hadn't told me.
No,
yeah.
But yeah, so that was...
I would have been you've got dirty dots on
yeah,
your...
no. No, but that was one of the things that started off being slightly like, why did I throw that one in with the blacks? But yeah, turned out all good. The dress, I went for a size 3 in the end, so my bust measurement is actually exactly spot on a size 4. But I've already seen a few other people talking about sizing down because it's already quite a roomy design. So I sized down and I double checked. So I didn't make a toile like I said I would. But what I did was I took the finished garment measurement of the size 3. So I'm officially a size 4, but I took the measurement of the size 3, which was something like 93 centimeters or something. Like, I can't quite remember. But took a tape measure and asked my husband, but I guess you could do the same with a clip or something, clipped it on that measurement. And I then sort of tried to get in through that
Mm-hmm.
circle that you create, or sort of. And because that is kind of the thing, isn't it? It's your bust measurement, but also if you can get it over your shoulder. Yeah. So that was the thing I was worried about. But I checked and see if I could get through the circle, and I could. So that made me think, I'm just going to go for a size 3. And I lengthened the bodice by 2 centimeters and didn't lengthen the skirt part because, I thought it will be fine wherever it's sort of around my knees, and I was just happy to see where it ended up. Yeah. And lengthened the sleeve originally by 6 centimeters because I wanted to make it long. So the original is like a bracelet sleeve length, but I wanted full length. But taking into account, I've got long arms, so I thought 6 would be enough. And then I tried it on, and it was bracelet length on me without hemming it. So the 6 centimeters is literally just the extra bit that my arms have, and yeah.
But I like it. It's like
so what I ended up doing, it was sort of sitting here without finishing it, and then I was like, really, I would want it to sit here, or really long, like that was sort of in between. So I ended up adding cuffs. So I measured the bottom of the pattern, the sleeve pattern. I also took it slightly in, by the way. I forgot to tell you that. Because when I lengthened it, you know how you get...
don't want baggy wrists.
No, exactly. And you get that bit where it's awkward because you lengthen it by so much. You get a weird corner. So what I did is I took the whole sleeve just in by like 1.5 centimeters on either side. So not a lot, but just a tiny bit. But that was for lengthening it, so I've lengthened it, took it slightly in, and then I measured the bottom of my sleeve pattern. Can't even remember what it was. And then just cut a strip of fabric and lengthened it by 3 centimeters. So I cut a strip of 8, so 1 centimeter seam allowance. And yeah, added that on. And now it's sort of like perfectly, I think this is where a long sleeve should sit.
Yeah.
It's a nice little extra detail.
Yeah, so it turned out to be a detail, and yeah, I'm happier with it now. I don't know, like if I could have made it work just sort of slightly here, but I know I'll get more aware of it when it's really long. And yeah, not much else to report really. It's really easy to wear. It's just literally
a chuck-on dress.
And yeah, it's really easy. Style-wise, I love this fabric. Like that is, I think, 100% sort of the colors and the style that I want to, because I've been thinking about, you know, making a sort of a wardrobe that suits my style a bit better. Fabric-wise, that is like 100% on point. Style-wise of the dress, I'm not convinced that this is the best look for me, because it's such a sort of wide fit, and it can feel a bit like one big
sack.
Like a sack, but more
positive. In a good way.
But more positive than that, you know.
Yeah.
But it just feels like, maybe it's also just because I often wear things that have got like a more defined waist.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people adding waist size, but I didn't have enough fabric. I was squeezing these.
Oh yeah, because somebody was asking about the fabric requirements.
Oh yeah,
and I think, well, we all used what it says on the pattern. I think you need it because you've got it. It's everything's on the fold, so
yeah. So the 2 folds, you're already creating.
Yeah.
The 2 folds,
and it doesn't really leave you with much wiggle room.
No, it doesn't. So, but which I like.
Yeah,
because I hate
no
having
wastage,
like a half meter left. But if you would add the waist ties, buy more. Especially, of course, I've got that 6 centimeters which I inserted right about here, and then there's the extra tabs, or the cuffs. But yeah, so if you want waist ties, definitely buy more. And I might do that again. So I would add that to another version, and then I will be able to sort of make it a little bit more, with waist definition. But that is the only thing. Like, I'm really happy with it. It's just, I'm not sure if it would be like my go-to pattern. That's the only thing.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, everything else, I would probably, if I would make it again, I would raise the bust dart by 1.5 centimeters, 2 centimeters, a slight angle. But that's me just being really picky. But yeah, how about you?
So yeah, I have a lesson not to do pattern alterations when I'm tired. Because that's
lesson learned.
Yeah, lesson learned, because that's essentially what I did when I was doing. So I thought, for once, I won't make a 12 because it's a loose fitting dress and it'll be grand. Which was my first mistake, because I just should have made a 12. And then also I don't know what I was doing. I was just not, you know, when you're doing stuff and your brain is with you, but maybe not 100% with you. And so I cut a size 3 because that's the right size for my high bust. And I also didn't want to drown in too much fabric because I'm really narrow here. I just didn't want it to be too loose fitting. So I cut a size 3 and I did an inch FBA on either side, so 2 inches. And normally I would do 3 inches, but I thought, I don't know, I think I was just thinking of the amount of length I had to add in rather than the width.
Maybe just because it's a loose fit already.
Yeah, I don't know. So basically it's fine, it's just, if I had put that extra inch in, it would have been better. And it's okay. I just also don't think this is the style of dress for me. Like Barbara, I prefer things with a bit more defined waist, but it's nice to try these things, you know, because if I hadn't made that, you know, it might have been a style that really suited me, and you know, and it's fine. And the good thing about this dress is that because the fabric, the skirt is just a big rectangle, really, you can take it apart and make something else with it really easily.
And you've got the pockets in, you're basically good to go.
So
you can just add a waistband, you've got a skirt.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a skirt, essentially. But what I did with this, I cut a size 3, did an FBA, and I narrowed the shoulders a bit as well, but I probably could have done for the shoulder seams going to the back.
Yeah.
But I think it's just not. I should have made a 12 basically because the sleeve isn't a good fit. I can't really.
You could do the robots.
I could do the robot really
But we can't do a
in
Mexican
dress.
wave.
No.
Yeah. And Mexican wave is
essential.
It's in daily life.
daily
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you often find yourself sitting in the kitchen while you'd be like, wee.
Yeah.
And
you cannot join now.
I can't.
So...
well, I mean, I can a bit, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
So yeah. But it's really quick to sew. The instructions are great.
Yeah,
they're really clear. There's
really
loads
good.
of tips all the way through. And it's nice, if it's a style that suits you, it's a nice quick thing to make, and you can make loads of them, which I know you have made more than one now. And it's a lovely, really wearable pattern. It's just not necessarily my style.
Yeah.
The only thing I was going to say as well is for the gathering. So I can't remember, I read this somewhere and I can't remember where I read it, but when you do gathering stitches, I always do 3 rows of stitches, unless it's something that's really thick, and then I zigzag over a piece of floss or use top stitching thread. But I do the last bit of gathering below the seam allowance. So I do it at like 2 or 2.5. And then you kind of, when you stitch your skirt or attach to your bodice or waistband or whatever you're doing, it means that your stitching is kind of in between like the top and the bottom bit, and I don't know, it just means that I find that the gathering is just a nicer gather doing that.
That is brilliant. That is really good.
I've been doing it quite a lot because I was like, oh, I'll just try this and see, and it does actually work.
Because the thing that I had, sort of the issue was that I used the top stitching thread and zigzagged over it. There's a few things with that, because this fabric is quite sort of lightweight. I wouldn't say lightweight, but sort of in between. You know when you do your zigzag, and then there's also another thread in between, it's sort of, even if you loosen the tension, it sort of bunches together.
It might just be too light a weight of fabric to do that.
So again, but I'm just sort of one of those things, you just try something and then afterwards you find out that it's not the best technique to use on this material. It just bunched up together a little bit. And then when you stitch sort of below the zigzag stitch, you're then, I don't know, you put a ton of pins in, but still when you stitch, it moves and it goes a bit all forwards when you stitch. But with that technique, it just stays in place.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great if it's loads of like if it's something that's really thick and you've got loads,
so maybe that's the thickness of the fabric is what you need to look at to decide on the technique that you're using. Lesson learned for all of us.
Yes.
Awesome.
And now I get to go to this lady in this amazing dress.
I'm very happy. Mine was different. I made a 12.
Yeah, you did.
See, I wasn't meant to. I thought, oh no, I won't.
We were the
And those two were like, oh, I'm going to do 12. And I was like, maybe I should. So I was going to a wedding, and I wanted to knock up a quick dress for it, because obviously I don't have any dresses, but no, you know what it is. I wanted a winter wedding outfit, evening reception wedding, whatever. But I had some fabric in my stash, and I just looked at it and I went, that will look really good. So I whipped myself up an indigo. It was so nice and quick to sew, and the instructions were really really good, and also the measurements really helped. And for me, I just and I still did the back bit because I wanted to check that was going to work, and it was gonna... Anyway, I whipped it up and I had a little bit extra, so I did the sleeve, which I wasn't planning on doing, and I did the sleeve and fell in love. Yeah, because it's like
the rough. What is it?
Yeah, it's like a rough. Gathered sleeve. I don't know, but it feels like a wizard sleeve. Like wizard sleeve. It feels like magical and lovely. And I like, because I've got my tattoo, so like when I move my arm, you can see like a glimpse of it, and it makes me happy. So anyway, so I did it on that dress, and I really, really loved it. So I decided I'll keep the fit the same because I quite like the bagginess. It's easy to just chuck it on, and it hides your sins, and it's great. So when I was going to make this up, I didn't have enough fabric to put the extra gather on, because it was going to be a wiggle. So I went and got an extra metre. So that I could do what I wanted. So, because I also had this idea, I think it was like Purple Sewing Cloud. I think she made one that had the gather, but hers was like full length.
Yeah, I've seen it. She might have made
there was a couple,
multiple.
Yeah, there's a couple of people around, and also there's that other dress, the one with the tie at the front. I can't remember what it's called, but everyone's
the
making
Wilder gown.
Yeah. So I had this thing where I really wanted to put a gather, another gather on. Yeah, because apparently I like gathers and I didn't know. So I just had this idea and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I went and got this extra metre. And admittedly, it does help because I've moved the back piece off of the fold and made it a separate 2 pieces. It gives you a bit more wiggle room. You're not stuck on the fold. So obviously did that. I allowed for the 1.5 seam allowance when I moved the back piece, and I did it on the back facing as well, so you had no problem there. And then for the everything else was quite easy. The skirt. So what I did, I took 2/3 of the skirt length for the top bit, and then added, and then I used what was left for the bottom bit, but then added 2 centimeters for the seam allowance. For the hem and no, I think I had like 3 centimeters, and then I did a 1 because I wanted the length. I just decided I just wanted all the fabric, and then so then I did that, which I was really happy with it. I did like it the other way as well, but I just wanted to do something different, and I think with this fabric, because it's like the pattern's so movable, it's just the movement of the fabric, like of the dress and the fabric together, the pattern of the fabric just works really well. I do, this fabric snagged a little bit, so I did use a silk needle on it instead, which helped a lot. And then as an extra touch, because there wasn't enough colour, it's me, I added the bias binding to the hem, because also I do prefer the finish because it stops it from rolling up. So if you use especially with something like this, it's like if you do like a really thin hem, mine always seems to roll up. So I just thought, and also the inside of the fabric's white, I just wanted that hint of especially like colour. Because it's twirling, you can see it. So I just like that extra sort of punch of colour, and when you're turning around you get that hit. To be honest, I just want to twirl in this dress. I want to wear it all the time, and I feel very pretty. I'm sorry they don't like it as much as I do.
No,
but
it's fine.
But I feel like this pattern's like for me, if that makes sense.
But that would make total sense because it would be very difficult. I think there are patterns out there that fit most body types, but there's not a lot, I think. And with our different body shapes and our different styles, I don't think there will be one pattern that we are all like 100% in love with and like, oh, this is me, because that would be too difficult.
That's why we're all different,
but that's absolutely fine because we will still get out of ours.
It's not like I've got a dress that I can't do anything. I'm going to make a skirt that I'll wear loads, so it's not like it's a wasted.
I also think for this pattern, if you do, like for me, I wore the one I made for the wedding. I wore it to a wedding, and then I wore it to the park with my kids. And that's the same, so you can dress up and dress down. Pair of boots, coloured tights, great. And then the summer, because I made it in the viscose, I can wear this. This will be so nice with a pair of sandals, as much as it looks nice with bright tights and a pair of boots.
I completely agree, and that's what I do really love that in a pattern. Because I wear almost all my clothes all year round.
And also I do think like the instructions were really nice, and I do think this is really hackable. Like I did the back thing, it wasn't I know that's not hard to do, a buttonhole, a keyhole back, but like it was nice. You could swap sleeves on.
There's options.
You can add the gather. I've seen full length ones. People make full length ones. So it's just a nice hackable, quick pattern to run up. I know I'll make more. You should. Yeah, definitely. I've made 2, and there's going to be multiples. I feel like I could wear this to work or out or whatever. So I'm just really happy with it. I think you can tell I'm happy with it.
We might have an idea.
This might be a hint, but really happy we did it. Thank you for I'm really glad we did it. And definitely recommend it.
The pattern. Absolutely.
And also with Tilly, what's really good, so she does really nice little sew-on tutorials.
Yeah.
Like things from gathering. She did a gather video. They do all like the zips and all that. So it's not just for the dress, but they do like sew-alongs, don't they?
Yeah.
And then they do really good like tutorial videos and like blog posts.
See, what I liked was the one where there's the blog post where there's the inspiration. So the different fabrics and then the high street inspiration as well. So you can see what is actually in the shops.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put a post together. And
I think it's
I
definitely
just
worth
really like that.
checking out their blog. So if you're going to make one of their patterns, I really think it's worth going on their blog and even their Instagram feed and just seeing what they do, because their inspiration that they give and the tutorials they give, it just gives you the whole package.
Yeah, I agree. I really like that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's everything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's everything from us.
Don't forget to
do everything, subscribe.
Like all the buttons, just press them on. Not unlike, just all the rest.
And thanks again, Harriet, for gifting us these fabrics. Really awesome. And we'll make sure that we'll link these, and if they're not available, we'll link other ones that are similar. Because they're awesome.
Go check it out.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay. Bye.